welcome back. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone is doing great. I am Larry Jefferson, straight out of Dallas, Texas, and I'm happy to be here to talk about this great conversation today.
Man, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Dantrayl representing M-Town, Memphis 10. Also glad to be here. And so just everybody, if you did not get a chance to check us out last week, you missed out on a phenomenal episode where we talked about the drama of hip hop. And so we had a brother on there, Dr. Garcia, who actually went to school with Tupac. And so if you did not get a chance to listen, you can go back and listen to it on YouTube and all of our audio platforms, wherever you foresee or get your audio podcast. So make sure you check us out because it was a dope episode, great conversation. But the conversation that we got today, man, is going to be phenomenal. Last time we had Goody up here, she was talking about squirting, man. I think she had the chat on fire.
Lord.
Hey, but real quick, Larry, though, I have to tell you, man, this is episode 49, man. So actually,
Jesus.
yeah, can you believe it, man? 49, and then our final one will be 50. So it's been a good roll with you, my brother.
Same here, man. And what's crazy is I'm a more behind the scenes type of person. I don't like being in front of people, so this is definitely surprising for me.
Right? Yeah, man.
But without um, further ado, Goody, you want to start off introducing yourself?
I was trying to keep my mic on mute, so I was being, mindful. But yeah, my name is Goody Howard, MSWMPH, because student loans matter. My pronouns are she, her, and boss, and I don't code switch and I cuss a little bit. I'm your favorite sex educator's favorite sex educator, and I've been in the game almost 20 years.
Okay. Dr. Lex.
Hi, y'all. So I'm Dr. Lex Brown James. I'm a LMFT, CSC, CSCS, and a PhD, which means I have a lot of letters behind my name and I talk about sex. I'm a premier sexologist that is internationally known on this microphone. Coming to you by way of Philadelphia, but drive that straight through Atlanta. I am from College Park, Georgia, and I'm happy to be here today. I'm a sex educator and a sex therapist. I work with people from womb to tomb to talk about sex positivity and building intimacy.
First, I thought you
Man.
was dropping like some bars. I was like, wait a
Man,
minute.
hey, I was about to start the beat, man. I was like, dude, I'm about to hit that joker, man. So,
Hey,
hey,
I didn't
anyway, let's
know.
dive in to some of these questions. As you all know, we're talking about drama in the bedroom, right? So, how do you keep the peace? How do you continue to ignite the passion? So, start us off, ladies, and talk to us a little bit about what are the most common causes of drama, right? So, when we talk about drama, we're talking about various issues, miscommunication, not pleasing the other. Like, talk to us a little bit about, what are the most common reasons for drama that happen in the bedroom?
So, I've been a sex therapist for 16 years at this point, and I see not only couples, but also thruples, quads, polycules folks. And most folks will say, we don't communicate well. We need help with communication. And I'm like, it's not the communication you need. You heard what he said, you just didn't like it.
Mm,
Right.
facts.
And so we're not taught to be honest. I can tell you the truth as I see it, but we don't lean into vulnerability of saying, like, I didn't really like this. I felt uncomfortable. I felt insecure. This made me feel abandoned. We don't teach people that language, especially our men and our boys. And then we don't know how to take that because we sense rejection and we run from rejection because rejection says I'm not good enough. We in the holidays right now. It's cold outside. People got seasonal affective disorder. People are anxious. You got to go to your in-laws' house and you don't like them. Family stuff is happening. Kids are acting out in school and money is funny. So all of those things start to contribute to I don't like you. I don't want to have sex with you. This ain't fun. We didn't put on some weight. We both like sweating bacon grease right now and things don't feel the same way they felt. So we having some issues, right? You heard the way your mama talked to me, and you think I'm about to come give you some after your mama didn't talk to me after I had to eat that dry ass dressing? I'm not
Facts.
doing it. So all of those things, communication, not listening to one another, kids having issues, money issues, we all in the house up under each other all the time, go away. All those things start to go into the bedroom. The bedroom is what dries up first.
dry ass
Yeah.
dressing.
I, I totally agree. I think it's not what sex is the symptom. When the sex starts to become that's what you're paying attention to. You didn't pay attention to your mom was talking to me crazy and you didn't defend me and you got me fucked up, right? You didn't pay attention to that. I didn't feel trusted. I don't feel like I can trust you. I don't feel safe with you. I don't respect how you handle that situation. So the me wanting to sleep with you is not a thing, right? Or maybe, like I said, disagreements about parenting. Even if the kids may not be necessarily, if they're having challenges, disagreements about how we parent, disagreements about how you gonna let your family deal with my kids like this, uh, disagreements about household, labor and what that looks like, disagreements about and every disagreement doesn't have to be an argument, but most of us were not socialized to understand that. And like Lex said, have the language to dance around an argument and just disagree, address, and resolve. Because we will address shit all day, but it's not resolved. So it's been addressed, and now you want to sleep with me, and now you think I want to sleep with you. And so the sex is the symptom of maybe dissatisfactions or feelings of being unheard, or maybe your respect has some holes in it now, or your trust has some holes in it now because of how situations were handled when we were upright with clothes on. So it's
So,
not even a matter of I'm not pleasing my partner, they're not doing what I want them to do, or I want more head and they won't give me head. Maybe shave your balls and drink more water. Like, it doesn't get to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, before we even got to that part, what happened when our clothes were on to lead to, and then the thing is, a lot of times the masculine side of the relationship will pay attention to the lack of sex before they pay attention to the feelings attached to the sex. And so the receiving partner maybe feels that that's where their power is in the bedroom. So that's where they
Mm.
exert their no.
but like,
But
why,
I also
why,
want to
why?
add,
Let me ask you this. Let me a follow up
oh, wait.
question. Like, why do you think that that's the actual piece that they seek to use, right? Like, why is that the first go to? Is like, oh, I'm mad, no sex, right? Like,
It's
why?
not the
Oh no,
first
that's
go
not.
to,
It's not.
but you just
It's not
ignore it.
the
Like you
first
said, you were
one.
honest. I didn't like what you said. It wasn't the first go to, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the ultimate one. It's the one you're gonna pay attention to. I may have said
Mm-hmm.
it. I may have hinted it. I may have tried to express it and didn't have the language. Maybe you tried to express. Sometimes men are not in the mood too. Let's not lay this at the feet
Mm-hmm.
of the people with the vulvas, right? Sometimes y'all not in the mood either, and no is an option for you, but you're not socialized to understand that you don't always have to be in the mood, or you feel like less than a man because maybe you just don't fucking feel like it, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that kind of leads to some hostility and some animosity as well. It may not just be us, but we don't have the language to communicate that. But it's not the first. The go-to is not the bedroom. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I gave you a written warning. Okay, we had a written, we had a verbal. Okay, and now this is where it shows up because this is where I
Right.
feel like you don't hear me.
Right. That, and you got to remember that type of stuff squashes desire. Right? If I'm not
Mm.
emotionally
Without
in
a doubt.
tune, if my body's not feeling good, and more than likely for people with vulvas, for people socialized as femmes and women, they have to have desire in order to reach their peak pleasure. But anything can pop that desire. Y'all done been through it. You start thinking about the laundry, right? Somebody heard the baby cry, the dog is barking, somebody knocked at the door. It's like, come on, just get this. Like, I can't do it. My head's not in it anymore. You finish. Let me do this cute little move and we're done, because their head is no longer in it. And then you'd be like, oh, this person's not even paying attention. They dead fishing because they're not even paying attention. They're just being used. So the other thing is, men have been taught that physicality and intimacy is the way to say, you love me. I love you. Let me feel up on you. I'm sorry. Let me get close to you. If you really love me, like, we can do this, right? That's not necessarily the case because men have been made to castrate themselves of feelings and emotion as boys. That's what Bell Hooks says. Bell Hooks says the first victims of patriarchy are boys because they're made to castrate their actual feelings in order to function to become men. So you've been taught, let me rub up next to you, let me get next to you. And if you accept that, that's how you try and repair, right? That's how you test the waters to see if things are still going okay or not. And that rejection says, oh, something's still wrong. We ain't made up yet. But that acceptance is, oh, I can get some. I must be forgiven. And people have reinforced that over time, but that's not necessarily true because people forget that people with vulvas still want a nut too,
Let me
still
let
have
me
high sexual desire too.
let me ask you this then. So how do you approach if it's switched, right? So like let's say the man is the one that's fully tapped into the emotional side, the emotional piece, but the woman's not. Have you seen that, and like how, talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. So there's a thing that we call spectatoring. There's a thing that we also call like when you dissociate, right? And so for men, let's just talk in that binary, right? So if men have that language and that ability, then oftentimes we have to consider a couple of things. One, is there an invitation for there to be space to be shared between lovers, right? Can we get to that? Two, what's the trauma in the room? You've seen it. Somebody tells you their dreams, and the other person's just like, all right, whatever. That's not really that important. Right. And you've seen somebody lose all of that steam because now I can't trust you with my stuff. If I tell you I like Star Trek and you'll be like, man, Star Trek lame. Star Wars is better. I'm not sharing nothing else with you because you're not safe. So now the question is, are you safe enough for this person to be vulnerable with you? Because if you're not safe and now you're letting a person do things to your body, you're trusting them with this vessel and these very, very sensitive, delicate parts that rip and tear. We got to make some headway there before I'm going to trust you and open myself up to you that way.
Also, it may not be what you did, it may be the people before you.
Back to the trauma that's in the room.
Yeah,
Didn't
you know
Music
what I'm
Soul Child
saying?
have a song about that though?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
But I mean,
Yep.
but it's still like it might not be you, but if you, let's say the masculine partner is in touch with their emotions and they can express them,
Right.
because just because you're feeling away, you mad, you're hurt. A lot of time, angry is really hurt, but you don't know how to express it because you weren't given the language. You weren't socialized to be able to connect to hurt. You know how to connect to mad, right? So if you are connected to your emotions and you know how to express them to someone, and maybe your partner is not receptive, then that's something on them that's not as much you, but it'll still show up in the bedroom because y'all are not I don't want to say evenly yoked, but you're not seeing eye to eye. And so, and it doesn't take one person being emotional and one person not, or two people that are not emotional, or two emotional people. You have to learn. Intimacy is what happens when you're not having sex. It is the culture of the relationship. It's how you deal with each other when you're happy with each other. It's how you talk to each other when you pissed at each other. I know that I can be a little sharp when I'm feeling disappointed and when I'm in my feelings, just a skosh.
I'm
Sharp.
so proud of you, though. I'm so proud of you. Good job. Good
I know
job.
that. And it's funny because my husband will be like, I'll say something and I will have mentally unsharpened it. But he was like, yeah, I heard that motherfucker in parentheses. Now, to be clear, I have never called be like, motherfucker, da, da, da. I don't speak to my husband that way. But the energy of the language, he was like, that motherfucker was in parentheses. I heard it. You ain't say it, but I heard it.
I know what you wanted to call me.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't speak to my loved ones that way.
But the other thing is 69% of conflicts actually not resolvable. According to John Gottman, the research guy, it's not resolvable. You're not going to find a fix to the problem. What matters the most is how you argue. Yeah. Right? So calling people motherfuckers left and right ain't gonna get closer than what you need to be.
No,
it's
I say
really
motherfucker in
saying,
casual language. When I'm upset, I really remove all my profanity. Profanity feels good in my mouth, but but we know this about me, right? I cuss. It's in my intro. I don't code switch and I cuss a little bit. But when I'm in a place of conflict, I really try to be mindful about my language and my tone. And even then, if it's just like deadpan, it's flat. There's no sugar on it. It's not sweet. It doesn't land, it may not land well. The motherfuckers are for when we're in a good mood. Okay. But when I'm like, and I know that, and I know that can land on my husband as disrespect. Even without, like, the motherfucker's not there, but my tone is flat. I'm still not being caring. Right. And that can put a man out of wanting to be, bitch, I'm not fucking you.
Right.
Because you disrespectful. You a disrespectful bitch, and I'm not giving you no dick. You don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in his head, because he wouldn't be out loud. But I'm just saying that men can get to that place too, is what I'm saying. Or
Can I interject on something? I'm sorry. Hi, my name is MJ. I just got on, and so hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
Dantrayl, Larry, Lex.
Huh?
So, I had a therapy session today, and I learned something new. I didn't know there was something called trauma bonding,
Oh.
and it was something that I learned, and I feel like my past relationship. I won't go into details. I finally realized that that's what it was. It was trauma
Mm-hmm.
bonding because we both came from trauma situations in our
Mm-hmm.
childhood,
Mm.
but the only thing that kept us bonded was the sex. So
Mm-hmm.
everything else wasn't.
Oh, it
It
wasn't just the
was
sex, MJ.
because now that I look back, you know, he, of course, he became really obsessive at the end. However, I didn't realize that that was the trauma bonding that we had because
Mm-hmm.
we were not into each other like that. It was just that we were able to relate to each other on certain issues that we had growing up. But when
Your
it came
wounds were
down,
familiar.
exactly,
And
and
so when that happens, your brain releases a thing called vasopressin. Do you know how long
Mhm.
it takes vasopressin to wear off? 2 years.
Damn.
When everybody in these 2 years monogamous relationships, and every 2 years you looking at this person like, I don't think I like you anymore. Because your trauma felt real familiar and somebody helped you through it. And your brain said, keep them around.
right. And also too, when and then in a relationship like that, you want to fall in love real quick. So what I learned is, okay, yeah, you love this person. You're like, I love
Mm-hmm.
you. But then you got to stop and say, but do I like you? Do I like you? I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
know I love you because I feel the love because that's what I know, but do I like you? And that's
Mm-hmm.
something that I didn't ask myself. And then it just became deeper and deeper. And that trauma bonding became stronger and stronger.
Yep.
And it was hard to let go because the sex is good, especially when you haven't had a man in 22, 23 years. And then you
Mm-hmm.
jump into that, you're like, whoa,
Yep.
So it's like
That
an addiction.
oxytocin, that
Exactly.
oxytocin kicking it, and it keeps the vasopressin going.
Exactly. And it was an addiction. I saw it as the addiction part of it. So, something I learned today was trauma bonding, and now I know what to look for. And it was just really interesting. So,
Good
Man,
Yes.
job.
shout out to your therapist.
Right. And I appreciate, thank you so much for sharing that too. And I want to say, because I kept hearing love.
Mm-hmm.
Love is not enough.
mm,
Love is cheap. Love is
right,
easy. Love is like sex. It's easy. Anything.
right.
Every person on this panel right now can open up their phone and text and find, or their social media, and find five motherfuckers willing to slide. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's not it. It is the trust, respect, and safety.
Mm,
If you don't trust them and
mm,
they can't trust you, if they don't respect you or you don't respect them, keynote, I ain't never re-respected anybody.
mm,
Um,
Never.
Never. Or if you don't feel safe, like she said with the vulnerability, I don't feel safe to share with you, or I don't make you feel safe. So love,
Mm-hmm.
don't even use that, because I've
right.
loved people I didn't trust.
Mm-hmm.
I've loved people I didn't respect, and I've loved people I didn't feel safe with. But I ain't never trusted somebody I didn't have no love for. I ain't never respected somebody I didn't have no love for, and I ain't never felt safe with somebody I didn't have no love for.
Right.
So all of that, I'm so glad you learned that because trauma bonding, it feels real familiar. And we're always going to default to the familiarity, no matter how dysfunctional or harmful it was for us, because it's too scary to go with what we don't know.
Mm.
It's the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And you're like, I know this devil, I can handle this devil. And when I'm telling you that
Facts.
oxytocin that release with every come, it's like, oh, I do like them. They do feel good. This is familiar. And specifically, we know the dating pool got a little bit of pee and a lot of poop in it right now.
A
Mm.
lot, a lot
I've
P.
heard
Ooh.
that. I've heard that.
So
It's
it's
all,
like, I
it's
don't
Me
all
want to
too.
go
about
do
what you
this.
can.
I'm just gonna hold
Pee
on
and
It's
to
all
the little
about
poop.
bit,
what you
the
can
little
do
bit
for
I got.
me.
But I will tell this. I will say this, because what happens is when they can make you come, and that when that key fit that lock,
Mm-hmm.
then you be for the wrong reasons. And this is why I'm such an advocate of self pleasure, because if you know what pleasure looks like for you, and you can make your own orgasms, that checklist of what you need in a relationship look different.
Mm-hmm.
They can add to what you're already doing, but it's
Mm.
not a replacement situation. If you know what your pleasure looks like, not only can you communicate that to your partner or partners,
Mm-hmm.
you know what it is. And so you're not impressed. Like, you see these little memes and stuff that say, I'm taking my daughter out to I'm taking my daughter on
Yeah,
trips
so
so
your
she won't be
dusty
impressed with your
son.
little Atlanta. Yeah. So you want
Right.
Houston, Atlanta, Vegas her to death, right? If
Yep.
you if you know what you need and you understand what pleasure looks like for you, sexual pleasure looks like for you in the context of your genitals and your orgasm,
Mm-hmm.
then what other people bring to your orgasm table is going to have to be more than what you can already do. And so you're looking at what else they are outside of the orgasm. So, and that's for that. I don't care if you have a vulva. I don't care if you have a penis. I don't care if
Mm-hmm.
you're intersex. You need to be able to provide your own orgasms before you stick your foot in that little pissy ass dating pool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So we've heard y'all talk a lot about the bedroom drama being beyond sex,
Mm-hmm.
which I love to hear.
Yeah.
Can y'all kind of spend some time and letting us know what are the negative results or negative impacts from drama in the bedroom that may occur not only within the relationship but also mentally with individuals?
Oh yeah. So, I mean, first and foremost, right? Relationships end, and they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't get enough, whatever, whatever." Definitely over my lifespan of being a therapist, I've seen people step out. I've seen people have babies when they stepped out because such and such was giving it up. Right? People have been devastated. They brought home incurable STIs and also curable STIs. Right?
Wow.
So, and they're like, "Hey, this is just something we're gonna have to deal with or not." People have been blasted. Allegedly, somebody might have lost some wheels on their car. Um,
What?
Lost
allegedly,
wheels?
somebody might have
Wheels?
lost some wheels because you're only supposed to take three and not four because the insurance will pay with four, but they won't pay for just three. Um,
Oh
Allegedly.
allegedly,
man.
allegedly.
Wow.
Pause. Pause.
So,
I need you to
right, but
rewind that.
also we can also see the vitriol, right? So people start to feel unworthy and they allow themselves and they end up being treated as they feel unworthy. You've seen people who've been degraded, people have been felt worthless, and that stuff trickles. If you
Mhm.
walk around feeling worthless because your relationship reminds you that you're worthless, you're more susceptible to abuse. You're more susceptible to financial ruin. You're more susceptible to manipulation in other relationships. That includes friendship circles with family. And so it can definitely start to spiral when some of those negative outcomes are, well, like, I'm not good enough. I need to learn how to do sex differently or better. Oh, it's okay because my partner's cheating on me and bringing home everything because I'm not good at sex. So they need to go get it from somewhere else. And well, just because I'm not good at it or because I don't have it enough or because I don't enjoy it. We also see people forcing themselves. So it becomes
Mm.
obligatory.
Mhm.
So it's not fun for them. But in order to not have this argument, I'm just going to do it now.
To keep the peace. Yeah, that's what I
That's
was
not
gonna say.
fun.
Is like the obligatory sex of
Mhm.
I'm
Or
just gonna
I'm
do it anyway.
aromantic, I'm asexual. Sex is painful. You'd be
Mhm.
surprised. It takes people with vulvas 8 years to be diagnosed with painful sexual stuff.
Wow.
8 years.
Yep.
One, because people don't
Because they
believe
think it's
them,
supposed to hurt.
right? And two, because they think it's supposed to hurt and you're supposed to grin and bear it. And three, because people have been socialized, she used to run from it, but now she take it. If
I used to
somebody's
be
running from
scared.
you,
Yeah.
it does not feel great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of
So
those things are negative outcomes from what can happen when start stuff in the bedroom, right? As Goody said, it's a symptom. It's showing that there are other things going on in the relationship, whether people are changing, that relationship is changing, but it can have really, really spirally downfall effects.
yeah, cheating. I think cheating, outside babies, outside diseases, infections, and things like that. Those are like the lowest hanging fruit. I, if I get pregnant, child, we suing everybody because I'm fixed and he fixed. But listen, everybody is getting sued.
Right.
But like, and I jokingly say, I'm a bigger picture bitch, right? We you got your vasectomy because in 10 years when you sick of my shit and this girl at your job telling you how luxurious your beard is, right? We're not gonna have no outside. We know what it ain't. Ain't nobody gonna be come knocking on my door with no kid that look like you. You know what I'm saying? I say it jokingly, but that's what happens. And then you have when you have that trust is broken, but people still don't feel like they can leave. Now, in real life, as long as if a man is embarrassed in public, he's not staying. If his girl cheat on him and his friends don't know, he might stay. But if his girl cheat on him and people find out, they're leaving. They're out. It's a wrap. Women stay after they get cheated on all the time. And I was having a debate a few years ago because I did not debate online for free uh anymore. And so the debate was who cheats better, men or women. And I was like, it depends on your definition of better. If better is I'm gonna get caught, but they gonna stay, right? Then men cheat better. If better is I'm never getting caught in the first place, because if they find out they gonna leave, then women cheat better. It just depends on your definition of better.
Better, right?
Right? But that pokes holes in the trust. That pokes holes in the respect. That pokes holes in the safety. Because again, fuck love, loyalty, all that's overrated. Can I trust you? Can I respect you? Am I safe with you? And so those to me are the negative impacts. And these children that didn't ask to be here for whatever reason. You know, you see these little memes and stuff on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like, oh, your husband and your mistress, his mistress passed away and they had 2 kids and they thinking you need to take the kids. Get the fuck.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Somebody
Who
posted a mug on
kids?
Instagram.
Them they kids.
Right.
They should have had some godparents in place.
Right.
Those are their children. You know, I might put a little trust up out the we'll make them a trust out of some of the life insurance, but they can't come stay here.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like there are lots of bystanders, and then again, it creates those traumas, and it creates those trauma bonds and things like that. Like you don't even see it coming because your trauma and my trauma look familiar. So the negative things that y'all are asking about, like I said, the cheating and the babies and the diseases are the least of it, because now if I don't feel worthy in my relationship, that may translate to how I deal with my non-romantic relationships, my friends and my family and my job. That's going to impact my mental health. My mental health going to impact my physical health. And then my physical health going to impact my mental health. And then my mental health. And now you mad because I didn't let myself go. And now you know what I'm saying? So it's never just a one thing. It's always a yes and.
Like a domino effect.
It's absolutely a domino effect. And so again, with the positive, with the ability to communicate, people think that just because I said it, that's communication. It's not. Did you said it and did they hear it? Did you say it in a way they can hear and receive? And if you're not, you think you communicated because you slammed the door. You communicated that you were mad, but you didn't communicate why you were mad.
Right.
Or you're demanding an apology. For what?
And also that depends on interpretation, right? You slam the door, to me, that says this could be abusive. That means you wanted to slam me.
Correct.
So now I'm unsafe, right?
You can't slam no more doors in this motherfucker. I guarantee
Punching
you that.
walls. People, use them. So even like withholding sex is sexual manipulation, right? You ain't take out the trash, so you can't get none. That's sexual manipulation. That's saying you got to earn it in this way, shape, and form. That's not okay. That's using your sexual power over a person to get what you want. So that communication is tool. Yeah.
Listen, it's a thing though.
It happens every day, right?
Yeah.
Every day it happens.
And it also implies that you're not enjoying it. It's just you're using it as a bargaining chip. It's not something you get pleasure from.
So all of those things that go into it, but feeling like you are worthless, feeling like you are unlovable, feeling like you are unimportant,
undesired,
that has
unsexy,
drastic effects across your life.
Yeah.
Not just in the bedroom.
Appreciate that.
Wow.
Y'all got Dantrayl not even knowing what his next question is.
Man, like I got like so many things are turning right now, man. I'm like,
this is the thing. Me and Lex are friends in real life. When we be at conferences and stuff, we be in the hotel. We just be like, having these kinds of conversations.
This is Thursday for us on a regular basis.
That's typically like when Larry and I be at them conferences, man. We be at the bar or in the hotel room, be like, man, bro, do you remember this, blah, blah? What happened with that? We were just having these random conversations, and then we start playing spades down in the lobby with like everybody.
I don't play spades with fellas.
I'm about to say ours is usually like flogged, getting flogged somewhere else.
We go downstairs and get flogged, or go watch
we go downstairs and get flogged, and
go to go watch the lube wrestling. What was it? Nipple tug of war.
It was nipple tug of war. It was nipple tug of war
contest.
Yeah.
Man, where y'all be going to conferences?
Sex down south.
No.
Right.
It's in Atlanta.
Hey, Larry, I think we need to put in a proposal, bro.
You want me to send you the link?
First week in September.
I don't want to see nobody's nipples come off on nothing.
No, they don't come off. The nipple clamps pop off.
Yeah.
The clamps. Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know if they would have them by the rings or something. I was like,
not by the rings. No.
I was like, they taking that domination too far.
Listen, but there's a whole dungeon. There is a whole
dungeon, and they do suspend people.
Yeah.
Hey, so I got two follow-up questions. And one, talk a little bit about you mentioned when the cheating happens, right? And you
Mhm.
talked about like men leave, women stay. Talk a little bit about the reason why women stay. And then the second piece is, well, I'll leave it there and I'll ask the second question.
Okay, well, I can speak to why because I definitely in my practice marriage stayed. And it was because I felt the feelings of unworthiness and undesirability. I can't compete in today's dating market. You know what I'm saying? He paid for everything. I'm bought and paid for. He just don't treat me like nothing. So I stayed because I didn't feel like I could compete. He had me feeling like nobody else would find me desirable, like I wouldn't be able to find anybody else. And I was believing that shit, which is wild. But like looking back, it's like, come on, girl. But that was like over 20 years ago. But at the time, I didn't feel like I stuck with a mistake that I spent a long time making. I didn't want my family and friends to be right because they was like, girl, you need to leave him alone. And da 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 da. His mama was like, you need to leave him alone, girl. He ain't about shit.
Damn.
Too smart. Go to state, focus on college and lead his man. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, you know what I got from that? Even his mama don't have his back. I gotta have his back. That's what my dumb ass. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes it shows up as this person just needs to be supported and loved enough to where they're gonna see me and appreciate me and give me what I need. But also they will breadcrumb you enough when they see you getting tired and about to go, they'll give you just enough to stay and then go back to what the fuck they was doing.
Mm.
So there's manipulation, there's game playing, there's emotional and mental abuse. There's a lot of things that come with it as a woman that did stay. When I real the light came on when he said, "You're a different person around your friends."
Oh
And I
wow.
said, "It's because they make me feel like it's okay for me to love myself." And I said it out loud, and that's when I realized he had to go. But that was shit, 12 years in, I'm married to the kids in the house later. You know what I'm saying? So we stay because we don't think we can compete in the real world, or we at least got to get our exit strategy together, or we believe what they tell us and how they make us feel about ourselves. So that was like, well, I can't do no better than this. Ain't nobody else gonna want me. Ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying? And it gets to that point where it's just like you feel like this is as good as it's gonna get for you. And I know that may
Can
feel,
I
I mean,
say?
y'all know me, so I know that feels weird coming out of my mouth, but I was 23 when I divorced him. I was a divorced single parent at
Yeah.
23. I'm 44 now. So that was a long, you know what I'm saying? But that's for me, that's
Oh,
for
you
my
younger than
mental.
Larry.
Can I say something really quick? I'm glad that you're talking about this, but there was something that I read not too long ago about generational patterns and it's cultural because for me, for example, I'm Latina. I grew up seeing infidelity in my family. That's all I saw. And what happened? The men were cheating, the women were staying because they had too many kids, they were uneducated, they just because their mama did it, and then their mama did it, and then their
And
mama
men will
did
be
it.
men. That's just
And
what
men will
men
be men. I
do.
might as
Not
well
let a
stick
man.
around. So for me, I saw it as a generational pattern because I had to look at, am I going to be that person too? Because my grandma stayed with my grandfather, my aunt stayed
Mm-hmm.
with my aunt, so I do believe too it could be cultural as well because
Mm-hmm.
we only know what we see growing up, right? But
Yeah.
as we get older, we have to know like that's not right, you
But
Well,
know.
see,
I think it's cultural in a way, but I think it's cultural as far as gender binary cultural, right?
Mhm.
So let's be real. Like women in this country couldn't have credit cards or buy their own house until the 1970s,
that was white
Mm.
women. That wasn't even
right?
us. It
And
was
Yeah.
the white
right.
women.
So like let's be real about like not having your own bank account. So grandma had to stay, right? She
Mhm.
wasn't we were working, but we weren't working to have enough. So let's be real honest. Like some, and so that's why grandmas raise their daughters and their granddaughters to not have to be dependent on men. And this is
Right.
why we see such a backlash for independent women, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
But
Because
also,
nowadays,
they raise their daughters and love their sons though, because they tell saying, you know, you don't need no man, and da 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 da, and then they turn around and raise men that we can't depend on
Right.
because they're
Right.
doing everything for them. But I want to say this too, to the culture of growing up and seeing, you know, the men cheating and everything. I grew up in a household where my mother was cheating on my daddy. I saw it. She took me. We look alike, so she took me everywhere to introduce me to her little side piece. She thought that shit was cute. I saw my mother play in my daddy's face. And my
Mm.
daddy kept taking her back. He stayed. They got divorced. They got remarried, and they got re-divorced. Like, I saw my mother play in my daddy face my entire childhood. And so for me, I think a piece of that of staying was because I was overcompensating, trying not to be like what I saw.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that
Very
shows
much
up
so.
too.
Right. And I also see, so in my practice, I see dudes who stay, right? Because they're like, well, she did this, it was a mistake, and oftentimes they'll be like, well, it was emotional and I need to grow emotionally. They had a bond. And that's cuts to the quick because it's like, I don't know if that's something I can provide. Sex, I can provide. I can get this D, right? I can get my health together. I can dick her down, whatever, whatever. Can I build a friendship with her? And so people are like, oh, women cheat emotionally. That's not necessarily true. Like women want to get railed sometimes too. And
Facts.
sometimes you can't do it. Like, let's stop
Period.
it. Right. And I don't know why people be like, testes are the hardest things. Like pussies take poundings. Right. You flick a ball sack, y'all are in like the fetal position. Pussies take poundings and can
And had
enjoy them.
babies.
I mean, it grows whole nutrients up in there. Eat some. That being said, what's happening is when we have men who are staying, like men also don't feel good enough. Men also don't feel like they're worthy sometimes. Men also are like, well, if I could just get more money, because that's what people are starting to have people believe, which is crap. Stop listening to rap and hip hop songs to make it think that this is what you need in order to have something sustainable. But men stay too because they don't want to go out and do that. They don't feel like somebody else is going to want them, especially men over 45. This is why 50-year-old, 60-year-old men are having problems finding women right now because they're looking for people who can help caretake them. And women who are 55 and 60 are like, nah, we're not doing that again. We didn't already did that
Mhm.
once. My partner has died. I gotten divorced. These kids at the house. I'm not letting another man come up in here. So I have to cook 3 squares and a cot and some pussy too. No,
Right.
I'm gonna be single and clean up after my own self. And they can
Right.
be single and clean up, but men are unhappy because they're
And they get
getting less
these young girls
sex
that
and
just
they're
fucking to get their nails done, and they're
exactly.
they're impressed with less because the women
Hmm.
your own age realize you're a bum. So then you got to get somebody that's impressed with less, and they can take care of you when you get older, and all of those things. But also, I've seen men stay when cheating happens because maybe they cheated before, and it's
Hmm.
like she got her lick back. So what can I say? Because she stayed when I fucked up, so I gotta stay when she fuck up, kind of
Well, the
thing.
big thing now is everybody's trying to be polyamorous and everybody ain't polyamorous. I need y'all to stop that shit right now. Please stop.
Mm.
Okay.
Please don't come to our practice talking about help us be polyamorous because y'all have been cheating on each other. A polyamorous person who's a cheater is still going to be a cheater in polyamory. Okay? They're still going to cheat. No matter how many partners they have, that means they don't hold good boundaries. It means that I'm saying that for me, when you do this thing, it is not okay. That's what cheating is. This is my
Mhm.
limit. I don't think that this is okay. I can't really tolerate this. A habitual line stepper is going to be a habitual line stepper, whether they are monogamous or whether they are polyamorous. It's
Yep.
still going to happen. So please stop saying polyamory is going to soothe your cheating because it's not. You're still going
Mhm.
to be a habitual line stepper. You're still going to cross people boundaries. Whether or not you can have sex with 10, 15 people, I don't care. But now you're not using condoms.
Mm.
But now you're not
Ooh.
getting your regular STI checkups.
You're not
But
Mm.
on prep.
now you're violating the calendar that we have a set agreement to where you'll meet this person, or I ask you to bring me this thing to let you know that you're thinking of me, and you still don't do that. So
Because it's
habitual line
relationship.
stepper is going to still mess up no matter how many partners are involved. Now you just have more room to fuck up.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
Because people don't
uh,
think poly means relationships. They just think it means
right.
fucking.
Right,
That's
right.
not it.
That's
That's
not what it
swinging.
means.
That's not poly.
Yes.
So
Where was
oh,
this last year, D? Like where was this last year? Like before all of my drama happened. Where was this? Because I needed this. Where
This is your
was it?
sign, friend. This is your sign. This is the
Exactly.
affirmation of the
Take it as
decisions that you
Yes.
validation. Yeah, take it as
make.
Yes.
validation.
This is affirmation.
hey,
Look at the work you've done.
and make
Right.
sure you go buy their products.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, so real quickly before we dive into the next question, I do want to open the floor to any of our guests that want to chime in or ask a question to our panelists. Um, because Larry and I got a whole bunch of questions, but we want to make sure we respect the group and allow some folks to answer some questions for our panelists. All right, Larry, what you say?
Gone.
Okay. All right. So next question we got for you ladies is, so we talked about some of the negative piece, right? We talked about the trauma. We talked about the issues of infidelity, staying, not staying. We talked about just kind of all of the effects that it can have physically, mentally. Talk a little bit about what are the specific strategies do you recommend to really kind of preventing or kind of resolving drama that's happened, right? So like how do you ignite that passion within the two individuals to kind of get them back on one accord? What do you suggest?
So this is probably my wheelhouse because I see people this way quite specifically. So one, I typically take sex off the table. I mandate that everybody who comes to see me, they actually have to abstain from sex for at least 2 weeks until our next appointment because I want to take the pressure off. You're not gonna huff and puff and be mad that you still not having sex and counting the days after our session. You're not gonna feel pressured into like, oh well, they're mad. We gotta have sex soon, and you're still having sex that you don't like because people forget that that builds resentment. If I'm having sex I don't like with you just to keep the peace, I'm not gonna want to keep doing that, and I'm gonna resent you every time.
Yeah.
And that resentment is a relationship killer. I especially talk about this to postpartum parents who like, okay, we ain't been able to do it, whatever, whatever. Like, come on, we got to be able to do it, and everybody's stressed. Yeah, postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and also please don't get it twisted. Men get postpartum depression and anxiety too. Matter of fact,
Yes.
1 in 10 dads
Yep.
get postpartum depression and anxiety, but they don't know because don't nobody talk to them and don't nobody screen them. So I take sex right off the table. Y'all don't even have to worry about it. And I've only had one person be like, come on, Dr. Lex, today my birthday. I said, get it in before midnight,
You said
right?
what?
That
Get it. He
birthday
was like, today my
sex.
birthday. Come on, Dr. Lex. I was like, get it in before midnight. He was like, I've been bought a bottle. I said, before midnight, my guy. Right? Do what you need to do before surfboard before midnight and get it
uh,
in. But I take sex right off the table. The second thing I often do is I get the sexual histories from both sides of folks because I need to know how you're sexually compatible, right? She don't know that he been yuck mouth, and that's why he don't want to. She doesn't want to kiss him because he don't brush and floss his teeth real well. But she ain't had the courage to say that, so I can be
His
like, "Oh,
breath
what turns
stinky?
you off about your lover?" Right? What turns you off? And she was like, "Oh, his breath is bad." Right? But she ain't said that because she don't want to hurt him. She don't want to put him off. But she like, get out my face. So all of those types of things happen when I get a sexual health interview, and then we talk about like, hey, what is pleasurable? Do you know which side of your clitoris, which side of your penis is more sensitive than the other? Do you know? Do you like vibrating? Do you like thuds? Do you like slow vibration, long vibration, no vibration, cold, hot? If you don't know the sensitive parts of your body, how are you gonna tell somebody else the sensitive parts of your body?
mm,
And if you don't know if your left side, right side, top side, bottom side is the most sensitive spot, then you got some homework to do. And I need you to do that homework. I call it naked homework because you got to get naked vulnerable feelings wise. And sometimes you're going to get naked physically. And then
wow.
I assign homework. So I do a gratitude body scan. So you stand in front of your lover, front, back, up, down, I don't care, naked. And for every body part, you have to say why you love that body part, why you care for that body part, and then show it a physical sign of gratitude. A
Ooh,
physical sign of
man.
gratitude, whatever that
But
is
we
I
for
can't
love
have
it.
you.
no sex though.
No,
I'm naked and you
Man.
touching me and telling me how much you love my body, but I
mhm,
can't get.
nope. You know why? Because we're increasing desirability for one another.
Man, I like
We are
that though. That's
edging,
some
we are pushing your arousal, and we're
man,
building
okay.
up that arousal again because I need you to crave that lover again.
Yeah.
I need you to miss that sensuous touch. And I also need to remind you that all touch doesn't have to necessarily lead to sex. We can be physically close, we can be physically intimate, and it doesn't have to be sexual. And we've seen that, like, oh, there they go again. They rubbing my back. I know they want some. Versus, I really love the arch in your back this way because I can tell how stressed you are when I see it,
Right.
or how relaxed you are when it's gone. And so those reminders of I want you, I like what I see, I'm reading into you, I'm learning you again. That helps build up some of the hottest, steamiest, most pleasurable touch and intimacy without having to have intercourse.
Because intimacy is what happens when you're not having sex.
Bingo.
So that's what I do in sessions. And no, I'm not taking new clients, just FYI, in
Man,
case.
hey, look, I already wrote that down. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm good. I appreciate that. That was
I just tell people to go get her book. I said, go get the workbook, go get the cards,
right.
and because that's not my ministry. I'm not a sex therapist. I'm a sex educator. So if you want to learn how to do some shit, I got you. But if y'all not doing it, and I know enough to know that I can triage and tell you where to go. And I'm like, listen, I know some dope people, and I have a very specific person in mind for y'all, but she is
Right.
not taking clients. She does not have capacity for your bullshit. But you can go buy her conflict resolution workbook. You can go buy her conflict resolution cards and work
Yep.
through those, and it'll give you leaps and bounds in tune and seeing inside and behind how the sausage is made of your relationship. You know what I'm saying? And it'll help you get to a different place,
Yeah.
And vice
right?
versa.
And then
Once you're
you
in
can
that
come back
bank,
and I can show you how to do some
yep,
shit.
when you got that safety, I'm gonna send you right back to Goody and be like, hey, you want the Miss Tootsie? You want the Rose? Like, what do you want? Here's a Traveler Pro. I'll send you a list that's specifically curated to your sexual needs. And you can go use my discount code and peruse all the things because now you're safer to explore it. You're vulnerable. And now it doesn't just have to be a wham bam. It can be a let me cultivate this experience for you. Let me cultivate your pleasure.
Mm,
So before Dantrayl close, we like to
man,
leave people with something to think about and
I'm turned
somewhere
on.
to move forward.
We've done that. No.
I mean, no, what is one thing each of you can
Mhm.
share to say, hey, to avoid drama, and I mean,
Mm,
you're gonna have it, but
Mhm.
to not get deep into the drama, here is something that you should do.
mhm,
What is your one thing? What is your one advice?
My one advice would be to, because like I said, I could be sharp, right? And so my one advice will be to always do your best. I can't say always. Do your best to speak from a place of care and kindness. Not even love, not even respect, but care and kindness. Because
Mm,
you might be pissed off. You know, said the same thing 13 times and da 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 da. But you never know if that's the last time you're gonna speak to that person.
mhm,
I
For
love,
one reason or
man,
the
that's
wow.
other.
deep. I like that.
For,
Wow.
for one reason or the other. You never know if that's the last time you're gonna speak. They might still be living and you just don't fuck with each other no more, but you don't want that to be the
mhm,
last thing they hear from you. Something may happen and you don't, and their story has ended.
mhm,
And you don't want that to be the last thing that they hear out of your mouth. You
mm,
don't ever know who's listening. Little pitchers have big ears. If you have children in the home specifically, they watching how y'all handle each other. Like I said, intimacy is what happens when you're not having sex. It's the culture of your relationship. So do it for the culture.
mhm.
Appreciate that, Goody.
So I'm going to leave you with the fact that conflict doesn't have to be a threat.
Mm,
When you disagree, it doesn't mean your relationship's on the line. It doesn't mean that it's the end all be all. I want you to look at conflict as an opportunity to learn more. Get
Hmm.
curious. Like, oh, this don't feel right. Tell me where this is coming from. I don't understand. I want to know more. Versus getting defensive, getting passive aggressive, getting aggressive aggressive. Conflict is not a threat. It's an opportunity. And that opportunity is to learn more, even if you don't agree, even if you don't get it. Asking somebody, like, tell me what's going on. What's making you so angry right now? I want to hear you. It's going to get a very different response than you always mad.
right.
Damn, what now? We just got home. Like,
Right.
what?
Like I just
Right?
walked through the door.
Like, I didn't even do nothing, right? That's going to get a different response than, babe, I see you're mad. What's up? I want to know. Nah, put that down. Come sit and talk to me. Right?
I
Like,
love
babe,
it.
I hear you huffing. Like, you good? Because it doesn't sound like good right now. Come here. Right? Your shoulders are
Appreciate that.
slumped over. So lean in with curiosity. And that curiosity is always going to get more intimacy. It's always going to get more closest.
Love it.
Mm,
Appreciate that, Doc Lex. Bro, what quote you got for us? Shit, we may not even need one.
man, I know, right? That's what I'm like. I'm like, man, do I even want to read this mug? But you know what I'm saying? For consistency being, I will read it. And so this quote is actually from an unknown author, and it states, In the twilight's embrace, love tapestry unfurls as bodies intertwine in a categorific swirls. Whispered words of devotion float on heated air, two souls united in a love affair so rare. In your arms, I find solace and divine bliss, a place where time suspends, pure love's gentle kiss. Our hearts align, beating rhythmically as one, forever entangled in a love that cannot be undone. And so, author unknown, but want to say, ladies, as always, definitely appreciate you all coming on the show. Make sure you all put in the chat. I know you all are offering some discounts for folks that's listening to RAD podcast. So drop it in the chat so that way they can go to your website, buy your stuff, utilizing the discount code, put your information in there so they can look you up, follow you on social media. And Larry, I mean, I know we're not doing next week because of Thanksgiving, but the week after that, man, is our final episode for a while, brother. So make sure y'all come back, tune in, show us some love. We're going to invite everybody back from all our shows. It's going to be a party. We want everybody there just to kind of come in and just say what's up.
Sounds good. Until then, have a great Thursday. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Goody, I'm gonna have to see if you got a shirt that I can customize for me. All right. But nevertheless, have a great evening. Have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your people.